Let me just start this by saying that I think of myself as a good person. It's something I've wrestled a lot with, especially this year. I think we all have, if I'm being honest. Bad luck didn't just hit the United States. It didn't just hit Russia, or China, or Mexico, or Canada, or Japan, or Italy, or the United Kingdom. The world basically attacked itself in 2020, and we were all dealt a pretty bad hand because of it. Some of the people who watch this will be religious, others spiritual, and then people like me who don't really believe in anything. No matter who you are, though, 2020 has led to some questions such as, is God angry with us? Is God angry with me? Is this spiritual karma for something I did or the world did? Or, of course, just plain, why am I experiencing all this bad luck? My personal take is just that this is simply a collection of bad things piled on together and mixed into a pot of hell that we need to endure as one. You need to understand that this video isn't anti-religious or anything of the sort. I myself am an atheist, and in the past, I've been terrible about it. I'd get into stupid arguments with people and mock anybody who was overly religious for believing such ridiculous things. And that was wrong. I mocked people for faith that helped get them through their lives, through situations like the crisis we're dealing with now. And I'm here to say that if you're someone that I wronged in that sense, or if you hold a religious spot in your heart and you've had to listen to some high and mighty person tell you that you're wrong for that, I am so sorry, because that is never fair or right. To those of you who use a God to spread love and peace and happiness, I am on your side, and I will continue to be on your side as long as I live. On the other hand, if you're someone that uses religion to manipulate others, to defend an agenda that threatens the physical or mental safety of others, I am not on your side. I don't want to consider us enemies, but I will fight against you. There are people out there whose main mission in life is to just be happy by being them, whether that's by loving who they choose to love, accepting the body or gender they're comfortable in, or wanting to live a full life without worrying about the color of their skin. If you're someone who uses any type of tactics to wage war against these people, we are not friends. And despite not wanting it, if you fit the description of someone who chooses to hate another for simply not being the same as you, then yes, we are enemies. It doesn't have to be that way, though. I said at the beginning that I think of myself as a good person. I'd also like to consider myself an optimist, but that's gotten pretty hard these past couple years, and especially in the last 6 months. I don't know if I'm a straight optimist anymore. I think I'm filled with too much pessimism for that. You can't fit the definition of one trait if you harbor constant feelings of its opposite, right? But I'm willing to say this. I've experienced some serious negativity from people I know, some of which are people I've looked up to all my life, close friends, partners, parental figures. I hear things like, the world is ending, humanity is evil, we're fucked. That last one's pretty blunt, but I think we can all agree it gets the point across. I don't consider myself an optimist anymore, but I also don't believe any of those statements. The world is not ending. We live in a good time. There's more peace happening than there is violence. Studies have shown this is the most peaceful time in civilization's entire history. The ozone layer has almost completely repaired itself, if you can believe that. And my generation, the one before mine and the one after mine, they're fighters. They're changing our collective habits and making their voices heard. Slowly, they're the ones taking charge and screaming at the top of their lungs for all who will listen to them, we want to live, and we want to do it here. And that leads me to the horrific belief that humanity is evil. Humanity is not evil. There are some pretty bad people out there, but I look around and see money being raised to donate to the less fortunate, food drives to feed the hungry, some of which I've been a part of, and protests across not just this nation, but the world. People marching because they know every person born on this planet has the right to equality and the chance to define themselves by who they are and not be held back because of the factors beyond their control. I have so many friends, and they're my friends for a reason, because they're good people. They're giving. they're loving, they're listening, and they're dedicated to being the best version of themselves that they can. How can I live amongst all this and agree that humanity is evil? How can I listen when people say that we're fucked? We are not. We are strong, and the amount of good that grows each and every day through new information, new experiences, and new ways of thinking will send this planet on the perfect course. This world is beautiful. My country, the United States of America, is beautiful, and I will not let those who are against freedom and acceptance speak for us. I will not let them define how we're seen. America did not need to be made great again. America was, is, and will always be great, as long as there are people like my friends, and their friends' friends fighting the good fight. And yes, obviously that includes me. I'm a fighter. Maybe not in the traditional sense. I'm someone who uses words as my weapons, and I've been known to be pretty good at it. Maybe too good at times. This is where I'm going to start taking some responsibility, because I need to before it's too late. These past few weeks, I've garnered a bit of a reputation as the wordsmith who will go head-to-head with Trump supporters and bigots. But in a way, I've been sort of a bigot myself. I've let passion get in the way. I've let others who have gathered around to watch me fight influence the things that I say. I don't mean that I'm repeating their words. I'm a lot of things, but a plagiarist sure as hell ain't one of them. But I digress. I think that a small part of me, not a big one, but a small part of me cared more about putting on a show than getting across the point I knew was right. I've said some really nasty things to those I disagreed with, and I want to make this next part very clear. They did deserve what I was saying. If you're someone who is against human rights or the safety of others, you need to be called out on it, and we'll get to that later. But I'm going to call some things out in a way that I should have done in the first place. I've used language far beyond a PG-13 rating to express myself, as well as stick to some old classics. I've called these racists and Trump supporters things like moron, idiots, pussies, which I shouldn't have said, not just because it was rude and uncalled for, but because it's a huge betrayal on the English language's part. A vagina is a very strong and durable part of the body, like most of the women they're attached to. If anything, I probably should have called these people testicles. I'm getting off topic again, and this is part of my problem. Sometimes I say things just because I think they need to be said, and it puts me in a really difficult position because I'm right. I do need to say these things because who else will? I know I'm a talented writer. I am well aware that I have a nice way with words, and I want to use that skill to phrase things that other people can't. Speak up and be heard because others fighting for the same thing I am don't always know how to get their point across. Writing is hard. Speaking is hard. So why am I not representing my cause properly? I wasn't wrong about the things that I said, but the way I went about saying them wasn't fair. Because what's it going to change? Calling these people morons is just going to make them angrier and crawl deeper into their way of thinking. It's not their fault. It's a defense mechanism because being wrong is terrifying. Being wrong means you have to face those that were right, and that makes you feel small, less significant, and therefore less important. Being wrong means seeking forgiveness, and the fear of not getting that, of losing someone's respect forever, and being imprisoned in the state of wrong, well, it can be enough to lose yourself forever. And that's not what this world needs. So if you're someone who has chosen hate over kindness, if you're someone who has looked down on others because they didn't share your skin, your sexuality, or your religious beliefs, then you were wrong. And that is okay. While your beliefs and actions may be something to reflect back on and feel shame towards, the fact that you're wrong should not generate further shame. It's not a step back. It's a step forwards. And if you're afraid that nobody will ever forgive you, and you need to take that first step forwards, let me help. I forgive you. This is recorded, immortalized proof that I forgive you and that you can look back on any time that you need. I know that's not enough, though. For some of you out there, you need more. This is the moment I need to take my own advice and continue to say that I myself was wrong. If any Trump supporters are still watching this, I shouldn't have attacked you the way that I have been. I shouldn't have called you such vulgar names. I figured I needed to stoop down to what I considered your level in order to finally reach you. All it led to was some unfriending, some public humiliation that was satisfying in the moment, and a circle of supporters who were already following what I preached in the first place. I say that as if that's a bad thing, and it's not. Not really. But it didn't get us anywhere either, did it? Those people are still probably going to vote for Trump in the next election and probably still hate black people. I kept my argument stable. To put in fencing terms, nobody advanced, nobody retreated. I kept my right of way, but still didn't score. So now I want to try a different approach. What I say next will probably lose some viewers. You're going to learn a few things about me that I know you'll disagree with, but I feel it's my responsibility to be honest, so I ask that you stay with me. I am a Democrat. I'm going to be voting for Joe Biden in this election. He's not the candidate that I wanted. He's the candidate that a lot of people didn't want. Certainly not my generation. When it comes to who he truly is as a person, I believe that Joe Biden and I only share one sincere interest, and that's getting Donald Trump out of the White House. I do not want Joe Biden as my next president. His views are very outdated, he has not acted in a way that I as a feminist can rightly stand by him, and I see him as someone who wants to be president more than he wants to help America's people. John Oliver put it best. Biden is the shot in the leg instead of the heart candidate. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's very similar to the 2016 election. I didn't want Hillary either. Both times I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries. And no, it wasn't because he was the candidate I fully agreed with either. I doubt there will ever be a candidate I 100% agree with. I voted for Bernie Sanders because I see a man who puts his country and his people first. Sanders is someone who marched in the original civil rights movement, with Martin Luther King Jr. He's been very progressive when it comes to women and has admitted where he's gone wrong. I supported Sanders because he fights for us and not his paycheck. I believe in capitalism. I think that with enough hard work, dedication, connections, and drive, anybody has the right to grow as rich as they want. But I can't in good faith call myself a full-blown capitalist because I don't think it has any business driving our government the way that it does. The priority of a government should be to protect its people. Individualists should not be running things. I don't care who you are on your off time. When you're behind a government desk, you need to be a collectivist. Now, I'm not a saint. And I probably won't ever go work for the government because of that. But I know that nobody's perfect. People can be selfish, and that's allowed. But when others are depending on you to see their next paycheck, hell, to see their next sunrise, your priority is those others. Others, not you. And Biden doesn't have that mindset. He's not fit to be the leader of the free world. But he can pave the way for those who are, and release us from the grasp of the one in power now. I don't believe in Joe Biden, but I believe in his administration and the agenda that will come with it. I believe in the doors that it can open up to those who will truly shape this country and the world for the better. There are thousands of people who voted for Trump in 2016, not because they agreed with all that he said. Part of them voted in because they believed that we needed a break from lifelong politicians. Some believed he could actually open up some doors and legit make America great. Some just voted him because he wasn't Clinton. Whatever your reason for voting Trump in, I'm not angry at you. We can't let that stand in the way anymore. Let bygones be bygones. It's time we stopped looking at each other as Democrats and Republicans. This needs to stop being about pride. I'm not voting for Biden because I think he's the right choice. I'm voting for Biden because I know overall it's a small first step in a much bigger path that my country needs to take. People are dying for no good reason. I have friends of color that I am truly scared for. I shouldn't have to worry about my black friends being killed if they're pulled over, or in the right place at the wrong time, or hey, peacefully marching for their right to exist. Marching, might I add, beside more of my friends. I'm scared for them too, because I don't know what's going to happen at one of these protests. I don't know if some lunatic is going to get carried away and start something that for some reason can only be finished by somebody losing an eye, a hand, or their life. And then we have people that refuse to believe just how dangerous this pandemic is. I'm not scared of COVID-19. Chances are that if this virus finds its way to me, I'll make a full recovery. I am scared for my friends and family with underlying illnesses who won't make a full recovery if COVID gets to them. Let me be frank. Individualism is not the way to think when the virus is collective. So if you're asked to stay at home, please stay at home. If you can go out, then go out, but wear a mask. which is all that is being asked of you. I don't care if the mask is uncomfortable. Wear it. It's not to protect you, it's to protect others. It's to make them feel safe because they are in danger. And if the mask causes issues for you, then you might just be someone who's in danger from the virus. So take it seriously. What you're experiencing is not a new normal. It's a temporary precaution so that we can get what worked about the old normal back. Be patient and be safe. Now I just want to touch on a few more things. But if I could talk about all the people in the world who have faced injustice and are still facing injustice, we'd be here forever. I've been rambling on about people who are very stuck in their ways and missing big pictures, but I'm guilty too. I've been behind on the times because until this year, I never realized just how lucky and how privileged I was to be born as a white male. I was raised to look up to police as our protectors, to not fear strangers. Meanwhile, apparently many of my black friends have been raised to take extreme precaution when it comes to officers of the law, to be afraid. Women in my life were taught how to use things like pepper spray, to keep tight hold of their belongings, and to dress in a way that didn't provoke an attack. So many people that I love and never knew that they grew up fearing the world. These are the people who are marching across the world right now. They're protesting a world that scares them so that their future selves and their future generations can grow up without needing to conquer things further. This is why we need Trump out. Trump says things that give the wrong people power. He makes racists, sex offenders, sexists, and spreaders of dangerous lies feel invincible. Feel as though they can get away with harming our nation, physically and mentally. We need to show them that they're wrong. We will not stand by while innocents pay the price for others' ignorance. Fear will not rule this planet. I can't stress this enough, and boy does it hurt to say regardless. I don't believe in Biden. I don't want him as my president. That's just one man's opinion, but this man also realizes he is the lesser of two evils. I didn't want to be caught up in this mess again 4 years later, but here we are. Donald Trump and his administration of lies and negligence of the American people must be replaced. I realize how hard this can be. I realize there are people out there who are anti-Trump and anti-Biden and are planning to either vote for a third party or just not vote at all. This isn't the election to do that. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, and it is infuriating that a vote that isn't for Biden is a vote for Trump. It's a fact, though, one that's freezing over in hell. I don't want to tell you to vote for Joe Biden, but I'm telling you to please vote for Joe Biden, at least on paper. A vote for Biden will hopefully, and I'm optimistic about this, release the possibility of a new type of election in 2024. One where it's between candidates of a younger, more empowered generation, candidates of the people for the people. I will never be happy with what happened during the Trump presidency, but I think it was for the best. I think we as a nation needed to see what horrors we're capable of inflicting upon ourselves so that we never let it happen again. I love this country, and I love its people. I am your friend and ally, and I will fight until the very end. I believe in the world. I believe in humanity. I believe in us. Thank you.